Well, it's looking like everything is good again. And welcome back to Tea Talk, the first one of 2025. I'm really happy to have you here. Um, I'm hoping you all had a really good holiday. We've had quite a bit happen in just a very short time, but that's okay. I want to thank you for tuning in today. Whether you're joining me live or you're watching the replay, I'm really glad that you're here again because today I want to get into a topic that I know so many of us can relate to, self-care, but not just any self-care, the kind of self-care that actually makes you feel worse. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but stick with me here, okay? We live in a world that tells us to do more, right? More exercise, more supplements, more meditation, more wellness, right? But what happens when more turns into an exhausting game of trying to keep up with that ever elusive wellness standard? For those of us that are living with chronic illness, it's not only unrealistic, it can actually make things worse. So today, we're going to have a look at why overloading on self-care might be the biggest mistake you're making, especially if you're managing a chronic condition. So let's start off by looking at, this wellness world, right? Everywhere you look, there's an expert, telling you about the latest self-care trend, do this for better sleep or try that diet for more energy or, you must get into this great routine, workout routine if you're going to feel great, right? Well, or better yet, take this supplement, right? And here's the kicker. I know, I'm one of them. And that's why you're probably sitting there thinking, wait, what is going on here? Well, don't get me wrong, okay? Self-care is vital. We all know that. But for those of us with chronic illness, something strange happens when we try to do it all at once. We end up in a hamster wheel of burnout, frustration, and maybe even feeling worse than when we first started. And I've been there where, I once thought I could just overhaul my life in one fell swoop, right? Ditched all the comfort foods, jumped into kickboxing and martial arts. But, unfortunately, my coach made zero allowances for my health struggles. You want to guess what my result was? Absolutely. I ended up with a bruised ego, fascia damage, and that was a huge wake-up call for me because you see, the pressure to fit into these wellness one-size-fits-all molds can be utterly exhausting. And it's even more complicated when your health is unpredictable. You might have some good days, but then, bang, you get that flare up. That hits suddenly out of the blue. So all of those wellness solutions, they're impossible to keep up with. And guess what? That's more than okay. It's very human and quite normal. So today we're going to talk about how to break free from the wellness trap, as I like to call it, and design a self-care routine that actually supports your health, whether you're living in chronic illness or not. Now, here's a big secret. It's a weird one. You know that expression, more is better? It isn't quite true. More doesn't always mean better. In fact, when it comes to wellness, sometimes more can be your body's worst enemy. And I'm going to break this down a little bit for you. Okay, if you think about exercise, all right, we all know that exercise is key to feeling good, right? But when you're living with chronic pain, fatigue, or autoimmune conditions, high intensity workouts, that can be your body's worst version. It's a really bad idea. So trust me, I've learned this the hard way. When I tried to keep up with that high intensity fitness program I was telling you about, kickboxing and martial arts, that only ended up in flare-ups and eventually injury that took time to recover from. The instructor's idea of pushing limits was not exactly what my body had in mind. And the same goes for diets. The world is overflowing with diet plans that are claiming that they hold the key to a vibrant, energized life. But for someone with chronic illness, these drastic changes, they can feel like you're signing up for a personal stress overload seminar. You're managing every little food detail, creates that mental strain and actually makes things a lot worse. So in short, the do more to feel better mantra is actually kind of a trap. It creates an impossible standard and ultimately, leaves you wondering why you're failing. when in reality, your body is just asking for a different approach. So, what does chronic illness need from self-care? Let's get down to the weirdly simple truth here. Balance, realistic expectations, and above all, flexibility. And I've seen this, you see people have a very rigid self-care routine. It's this staunch to-do list of wellness tasks. You do this at this time, that at that time, and it doesn't work that way because it has to change with the seasons of your health, as you're, progressing. Because trust me, chronic illness doesn't operate on a schedule anyway. So another truth that no one tells you, the best self-care for chronic illness quite often looks like doing less, not more. And before you shout out, what, wait, what? Hear me out. It's about listening to your body and respecting what it needs and giving it room to breathe. For example, instead of following a strict workout plan, you can enjoy a gentle movement like stretching, yoga, or even a casual walk. Back in 2016, I got to know the wonders of walking, and it wasn't a hardcore workout, but it was my path back to feeling like me. I didn't want to get into those neon gym lights, or I didn't want to hear the grunting. I just I just want the simple act of walking outdoors. And guess what? It really did work wonders because instead of obsessing over, which trendy diet, I should be on, how restrictive I should be, I learned how I was going to nourish my body with food that feels good without those mental gymnastics. So, and of course that brings me to the next part, mental health. That's a big part of this. Practicing mindfulness in a way that works for you is key. Now, what I mean by that is that we're usually all so tense, we don't even know it. So let's break free from that, shoulder to ear syndrome and, find that nice deep breath and just release the tension that's silently eating away at you. So another thing I want to talk about, just kind of popped into my head before I forget. This is something that no one else is going to probably tell you either. The weird liberating power of saying no. Now, sure, you've heard that part, but here's the part you really need to hear. You can say no to wellness overload. No to the constant pressure to do more, to keep up, to take every single supplement under the sun, to jump on every new wellness trend. Whether you live with chronic illness or not, you have the right to simplify. You have the right to release unrealistic expectations and say, you know what? Not today, wellness industry, not today. You don't have to be doing all of those things. Your self-care should reflect your needs, not someone else's Instagram feed. Now, another bizarre truth I want to share, things like resting, taking naps, and simply doing less can actually be the most powerful form of self-care. Why? Well, because it's honoring your body's actual needs, not pushing it past its limits. When you rest, your body gets the space it needs to heal rather than, running itself into the ground. And maybe that's exactly where you are in your healing journey. So honor that. Let yourself heal. So what does all this mean for you? Well, it means you get to take control. You get to decide what self-care looks like for you. No more chasing someone else's wellness ideal or feeling like you're falling short. It's your body, your rules. So if you're managing chronic illness, remember, self-care doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be complicated or exhausting or whatever someone else thinks it should be. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is just pause and listen to your body and give it what it's truly asking for, whether that's rest, could be nourishment, or maybe just permission to just be. So the next time you're feeling that pressure to do more, just stop and ask yourself a simple question. Is this helping me, or is it just adding another burden to my plate? Honor where you are in your journey and know that healing starts with giving yourself grace. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm hoping this message resonates with some of you, hopefully a lot of you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Hey, please drop me a comment below. Let me know how you're maybe redefining your self-care in your life. And, if you're looking for guidance or support in that, don't hesitate to reach out to me personally, or you can, pop in at my free online wellness center if you're one of those do-it-yourself kind of people. That's great. I've got a lot of stuff that I've done is in there. There's stuff that I don't do because it's really not for me, but it's for somebody else. So I'm going to pop the link up above for you to check that out. And remember, as you're going through there, take what you like and leave the rest because that part's not for you. That again is for someone else, being a not a one size fits all website. Okay, so check that out. And also, I have a YouTube channel that I like to store all my shows on. So, have a skim through there. Maybe there's a subject that's running through your mind that I've done that could be helpful for you. Love that. I also have a discovery group, is Danny's Wellness Tribe. And in there we have roughly, I don't know, well, it's growing all the time, but it's nice because we're getting more and more interactive. We're learning more as we go, and I'm loving that, some of you are posting your own stuff too. Kudos to you. I love that. This is great. This is what it's for. We're sharing information. So that's there. Also, we've got a webinar coming up. I got to actually grab my note. It's coming up actually on the 22nd, which is kind of funny. I have something special happening that day too. But it's basically about how good energy leads to a healthier weight. And if you've been into my newsletters at all, you'll already see the link is there. You just click that to register for it. It's awesome. I'd love to have you there live, but if you can't make it live, register anyways, because then that way you get the replay and then you can, kick back with your favorite teddy bear and your cup of tea and enjoy the show, right? So that again is going to be January 22nd and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 for us, Pacificers. And tomorrow, I'm going to be doing my first weekly wellness show of the year. I'm going to be talking about glucose spikes and how that affects our weight gain. I think you're going to find that very interesting. So I hope you join us. And I think I've got that covered. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got in my notes. That's it. That's all she wrote. All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you for being here with me. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And remember to hit those links up above. I'll also put my blog up above for you too, in case you're one that you like to kick back and just read a little bit here and there. All right. Bye for now.